Welcome back to Not That It Matters with Max Miller, and it's a bit of a new story today. I apologize to Kevin Waldwell. He's been doing a great job helping me out on the show on Wednesdays, but I've gone in a different direction today. He got off work a little bit early. You may have heard me on with him before on the channel, and although his show is now on pause, I'm down a distance. I have the one and only Chris Kelch here with me. Chris.
Hello, Max.
We're back together. You're still on the East Coast, and is the bird still there? The people need to know, is the bird still there?
Well, I didn't take any drastic measures to get rid of him, thankfully. I wouldn't do that. But no, I haven't heard him in quite some time. I think he comes and says hello a little bit from time to time, but no, I haven't heard him too much.
Have you given the bird a name? Now, look, I know sports are fun, but they don't matter at this moment. The people need to know about this bird and what happened.
I never gave the bird a name. We can go ahead and name him right now if you want to.
Yeah, let's do it. What do you got?
I don't know. Call him Yoshi. Sure.
Yoshi? We'll go Yoshi. Yoshi
Bird's
the bird.
name is Yoshi.
Yoshi the bird. Well, Yoshi, if you do want to chime in, you're welcome on my show, but not on Down and Distance. So, but anyway, we've had a lot go on since you and I have last talked. It's been a couple of weeks. Welcome to the 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern time slot. It's great. We got lots of listeners here today.
Beautiful.
But we had a fun. I don't know if you watched the All-Star game last night and the home run derby.
I saw a little bit of it. I watched the home run derby very much so. All 2 hours of it, or however long it was.
It was your boy repeating his champ. And do you agree with the fact that he is the best power hitter on the planet?
No, I just think he's the most competitive home run derby participant of all time. I don't think you can really put him as the best power hitter on the planet simply because of how he performs in regular season games. And being a Mets fan, I see it every day. He's been performing subpar as far as his standards have been, but he's still a great power hitter, and I can't put that past him.
Well,
he's very competitive. He works very hard.
Picking it up lately.
Yeah, I mean, he finished the regular season with 17 home runs.
Well, the first half.
Yeah, my bad. First,
17 on batting 250, which is not the greatest, but it's all right for him. 250,
no, nobody
numbers. I think the biggest issue for me is he's only brought in 49 runs batted in, especially when you've got Nimmo and Lindor in front of him. Like, I feel like you need more in front of him.
Well, that's also another problem is Lindor and McNeil. Well, McNeil he had a hamstring injury for I think he missed about 10, 15 games.
Yeah, something like that. Something
around there. And Lindor has just been, my God, I mean, he's picked it up as of late, but he's been a complete disappointment. $341 million later.
I have him on 2 fantasy teams. I need him to get going. Like I said, like you said, he's been better lately. But let's get into last night. I don't know if you caught the game last night at the end, but did you hear about what Liam Hendricks did?
Who?
Liam Hendricks, the closer for the White Sox, former Oakland A's closer. He was mic'd
up. I did not.
So my friend and teammate of the San Jose State hockey team, Harrison Fulmar, let me in on this when we were planning to do the show beforehand. He said that Hendricks was mic'd up. They'd been mic'ing up the players, and he didn't realize his mic was still live, but he couldn't hear Joe Buck and John Smoltz. And the first pitch he threw was a ball, and he just threw out some F-bombs. I mean, it's Liam Hendricks, and if you know him, he's very intense. He's a very intense, like.
When did he get in the game?
Ninth inning. He closed out the game.
Oh, he closed out the game?
He closed out the game, got the save, and it was the first thing. So we could hear him, and they couldn't hear they couldn't hear him. But it was a fun game. Obviously there's some good storylines. I mean, Mike Zunino going yard, that's pretty cool. And then did you see Vlad Guerrero's home run?
Yes, that's actually part of the game that I had seen. Vlad Guerrero came up, they were talking to Fernando Tatis Jr. And Vlad Guerrero came up. He knocked one 468 feet, I believe it was.
I believe it was
the
up
announcers.
The bleachers.
The announcers went. It was the last row it landed in. The announcers went crazy. Oh my God!
Joe Buck going crazy. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. He broke free. Touchdown.
Wow, you're a true Joe Buck fan. I can see. I will say I wish he always had more emotion, because I like his back at the wall. It's gone. Like, that's a good call, but the way he does it is just not very good.
I think he's a much better baseball announcer than he is football.
Oh, 1,000%. Football is just
there's just something about hearing his voice announce baseball games. I absolutely love it, but I can't stand
especially now that he's starting to really put more emotion into it. Like before, like I think the biggest the biggest memory I have Joe Buck of really just being terrible was Game 6, David Freese, when he hit the home run, and it's the "We will see you tomorrow night." And I understand he's probably tired, but like that's Game 6 of the World Series, hitting a late extra inning home run to win the game, and here
He
and
had
we will see
emphasis on that
you
call.
tomorrow night, like monotone.
No, he had more emphasis on that call. I loved that call. Or if we're talking about the same call, I don't know if we're talking about the same specific call. I can hear it in my head.
Oh yeah, I think we are. I think because it was also super late, that call. But I digress. John Buck,
he had
Buck, yeah. Go ahead.
He had some pretty good emphasis on that call. He's like, and we will see you tomorrow night, like that. But in Joe Buck's voice, obviously.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think it's just it's what comes into my head when I hear Joe Buck.
Yeah, I think of that. I think that exactly when I hear Joe Buck.
Either that or the words Aaron Rodgers, because that's all he ever says.
Aaron Rodgers. Well, unfortunately, we're not on down a distance. We may get into some Aaron Rodgers and some NFL stuff a little later, as I'm sure a lot of the listeners know about Richard Sherman. That is on the topic of list we're going to talk about at the end. We want to get through some more important stuff as more details are coming out with Richard Sherman. Just briefly before we get into it, he was not officially charged, but he's being investigated for burglary and domestic violence. But going back to baseball, I want to talk to you. Was there a moment, this year, you and I are pretty good baseball. You're a Mets fan. I mean, you follow baseball pretty much as a whole. It's not hard to kind of see kind of headlines are going on. I want to know, and I asked this to Derek yesterday. I want to know if you've got three biggest surprises or three biggest storylines of the season so far, because I've got a few of my own, and I want to know what other people are thinking, and if we're thinking the same thing, different. Give me what's going on. What's the biggest, things of surprises or well-known things that you want to know about this year? Like what have you seen?
Well, I can't get into too much detail with this specific one, because I don't know too much about the team, but I know that they weren't supposed to be doing much this season, and that's the San Francisco Giants. I think they coming in at third in the division right now, but they're like 20 games over 500.
They are the best team in baseball, Chris.
What? See,
Yes.
that's how much of a surprise it is. I didn't even know that. What are you talking about?
Yep, they are the best team in baseball. They have been for a little while. I believe in early June, they lost first place for about a week, and they just got it back and haven't since. So as
25 games over 500 right now.
They are
57 and 32.
Yep, with a 2-game lead over the Dodgers. I mean, Padres are right behind them, 6 games back. So I mean, they're pitching great. They're 7-3 in their last 10. I mean, if you look at their home, like they've won 30 games at home. Like that's insane to me. The only other team to win 30 games at home is the White Sox, and they've won 31. And for
their run differential is 116.
Do the Astros have a higher run differential?
The Astros have a 136.
Yeah, their offense. They have the best offense in the MLB. And what sucks about that is they don't need to cheat to be good, and they did. But I digress. So the Giants. I mean, what about them? Do you think, other than they're pitching, like, did you think before the season started that this team would be a over 500 team? Because I'll tell you right now, I thought they were going to be just a 500 team.
Being completely honest with you, the Giants over the course of the entire offseason, beginning of the season, never crossed my mind once. They just were kind of one of those teams that just stayed on the back burner of my brain, and I didn't think about them. And for them to be blowing up like this has just completely caught me off guard, completely caught many people off guard. I'm stunned. And you brought up the Astros having the best offenses in the league. Another surprise is the Mets offense.
Yes.
Specifically Lindor. They're coming in at dead last in the league, which makes absolutely no sense. They have a run differential of 9. They've scored 9 more runs than they have given up.
That's pretty abysmal. And if you look, and like I said, I'll add on to that. Going back to the Pete Alonso said he's only got 49 RBIs. I mean, he's first on the team with 49 RBIs. Lindor's second with 36. So Alonso's brought in 13 more RBIs in about 30 to 40, about 40 less at bats than Lindor. So somebody like Dom Smith, or I apologize, no, that's not RBIs. Yeah, it is. Dom Smith is second with 37. My bad. Lindor is third with 36, but he's got 12 more than Dom Smith, who has 6 more at bats.
I'm sorry. Is it bad that I think that the Mets should be trading away Dom Smith?
But I mean, for what would you need? Another bullpen arm, sure.
I
But
think we should include Dom Smith in the Chris Bryant trade because I
well,
think
here's where I might send you in the wrong direction here. Michael Conforto is a free agent at the end of the year.
no, we got to bring him back.
Right.
Sorry.
So you got to make a decision. It's either him or Dom Smith, and
No,
you
him.
got to use one of them to if you're going to go after Chris Bryant, you got to use one of them
I mean,
to
but that's
go
not.
get him.
That's also not entirely true because we can just straight up give them Ronnie Mauricio because we don't need him anymore.
True, but at the same time, like you could put him at third base.
Why
Right.
would we need to do that if we get Bryant?
If you get, well, that's the thing is, maybe
But we
you
also
don't
have
trade for Bryant.
Then
So-
we have Brett Batty coming up for third base eventually in the next year or two.
It's going to be interesting because then if you want to keep moving people around, you can maybe move McNeil to the outfield. You can move. You're not moving Lindor from short. You're not moving Alonso from first unless a universal DH comes in.
That's what we were talking about. I was talking about this with my friend today, well, with a couple of my friends, and they were saying that if we retain JD Davis, that either him or Dominic Smith are going to end up being our designated hitter for the season. Maybe they would platoon back and forth. We put JD in left field, Dom at DH. Maybe we put Dom at first and Pete Alonso at DH because obviously Dominic Smith is a much better defensive first baseman. Although
Which we haven't seen. He only plays the outfield now.
No, yeah. I mean, and that's another thing. He's improved in the outfield. I don't know if you saw the catch he made in foul territory when he leaped over the fence.
I did not see that. That's impressive because I know for him, one of the biggest reasons why he wasn't getting into the lineup is because of his defensive ability.
Yeah, especially in the outfield specifically because
Yes.
he's a stud at first base.
So it's an interesting. So the Mets offense is your number two surprise or storyline. Give me another storyline surprise here. What else have you seen?
The Cincinnati Reds being even remotely over 500. I thought they were going to be
start.
I thought they were going to be the worst team in baseball. Being completely honest with you, Joey Votto has had a complete resurgence in his year 38 season. He's hitting, I believe he's hitting over 300 this year.
I don't know if that's Votto. I'm pulling it up right now. The Reds. Let's take a look here at the averages. Joey Votto is hitting. Why did it give me 6? I don't know. Give me a bets. Joey Votto is hitting 257. I think you're thinking of Nick Castellanos or Jesse Winker.
No, I think I am thinking of Joey Votto, but it may be over his last 10 games.
That's
what I saw.
Yes, I mean he's still he's got 11 homers in a year, but he's bringing in 40 runs. And then you got to look at, you got to look at Jesse Winker and especially Nicholas Castellanos. Everybody thought he wasn't going to do anything. 18 homers, 59 RBIs for Castellanos, hitting 331. Like this offense is stacked. Do you remember a couple years ago when it was Aristides Aquino hitting bomb after bomb after bomb, and now he's just like not there? He's played in 24 games this year, partially because of injury, but like you look at him and you look at somebody else like Eugenio Suarez. He's their cornerstone at their base. He's got 18 homers, 50 RBIs, but he's hitting a cool 175. And I will say, shout out to my friend Sean. He's big Reds fan. He's from the Ohio area. He loves Jonathan India. Jonathan India has 5 separate games where he's gotten a hit. I think it was 5 times where he's gotten 4 hits in a game this season. He's hitting 275. Or no, it was 10 games this year where he's gotten on base on 5 separate times in a single game. And that's wild to me. He's hitting 275, Jonathan India, rookie, by the way. He's got an on-base percentage, Chris, of 397. Did I lose Chris? Is Chris still there?
I feel like that's not that high. Why do I feel like that's not that high?
He's on base 40% of the time of his at-bats. Remember, hitting 275 now is about average. That's his batting average, is 275. He's on base 39.7% of the time. If I go to the league leaders in on-base percentage, let's take a look here. The league leaders in on-base percentage is Vlad Guerrero Jr. at 430. And if I try to find John in India, he's 7th in the MLB in on-base percentage. And he's tied for 6th, with Adam Frazier, who was an all-star, by the way.
Where's Brandon Nimmo on that list?
Brandon Nimmo, if I can find him quickly. I know he's an on-base machine. He walks like crazy.
Yeah, he walks like crazy. He's like Curtis Granderson with his walks.
If I take a look here, let me go to the Mets and I can get a better idea of where he might be. Let's see, on-base percentage. Let's take a look here.
I apologize. I went quiet for a little bit. I was looking something up.
No big. I mean, you're doing some research. That's all I can ask for. For Brandon Nimmo. Can't even find him on here. There he is. He is at 408. I just don't know if he qualifies because of his amount of at bats. He is on there. So if I sort by on base percentage,
it might be higher if he played all those games.
Right, it might be higher. So he doesn't. Yeah, he's not on here. He hasn't qualified. It says to qualify, he must have 3.1 plate appearances per team games played. When I sorted it on the Mets, he didn't show up. So once he gets more at bats in, he'll pop up on the list. So if he were to be there, he'd be third in the league in on base percentage. So I mean, we knew. And then with Lindor, with him back and Lindor now starting to hit, we'll hopefully get some runs. But back to the Reds. I mean, they lost Trevor Bauer, and their pitching has been decent. You know, I don't know if you've seen Luis Castillo's statistics, but he had a great year last year. He was off to an absolute horrible start this year. And he has 19 starts this year. He's got an ERA of 4.65. Chris, his first 7 starts, his ERA was over 10.
That's awful.
It's down. He's at 19 starts.
I'm looking at his stats right now. His first. Yeah.
Ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead. What are you saying?
His first 2 games, he had an ERA over 7. Where are you seeing the 10? Oh, this is only coming from May. It's only starting at May.
Yeah.
So his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. His last 10 starts, he went from having a 7.6 ERA to a 4.6. So
right.
he's 100% gotten better over the course of the past 2 months.
And then you look at Sonny Gray. He's injured right now, but he's always good. You know, he reminds me a lot of Marcus Stroman. Not a big high win, high lose guy. He's going to give you a chance to win. Low whip guy. It's a little high this year at 1.29, but a 3.19 ERA. And the other guy, obviously Wade Miley, he threw the no hitter this year. And then another guy that's really stepped up and really become their number one guy when Castillo was struggling is Tyler Mahle. Tyler Mahle 7-3 with 18 starts. In 95 innings, he has 118 strikeouts. He's a strikeout machine. He's only walked 35, only given up 12 homers, so a little bit too much on that part. But I mean, 39 earned runs in 95 innings. It's an ERA of 3.68, a WHIP of 1.19.
That's a stat I never understood. What is WHIP?
It's walks and hits plus innings pitched. So it's pretty much how often are you allowing guys on base. If I walk 2 guys and give up a hit and then I get everybody out the rest of the inning, my WHIP for the inning is 3. I allowed 3 batters on base for that inning. It's a little hard to calculate. There's some more math. And as a hockey player, we are terrible at math. But yeah, the Reds, like you said, they're having a great season. And yet again, though, I still think their bullpen fails them. Do you know Amir Garrett? He's one of the top relievers. He's been awful. 6.5 ERA. He's turned it around as of late. Sean Doolittle, not what he used to be.
You got these stats coming up quick, bro.
On the MLB.com, they've got a great stuff where you can just kind of click through pitching and hitting stats, and on every team. I'll shoot you the link right now so you can stick with me. But it's been great. Is there any more surprises? Because although I'm not a Reds fan, Sean does help me with hearing about them, especially with John in India. We were playing golf and he told me about that stat. But is there another surprise? Is there another storyline that has really caught you off guard?
I had one in mind. I believe it was that's it. That's right. The Yankees being so awful.
Is this your shot back at me for always giving you crap for kicking a field goal?
It might be.
As I'm wearing my Aaron Judge shirt, and yesterday I wore my Savages in the box
of all time, right?
Oh, Jesus. People need to be fired. Look, Aaron Judge has 312 at-bats and has played 84 games. I'm honestly surprised he's played 80 games at this point in the year.
You know what? That's it. You bring up a good point because early in the season he was missing game after game.
Right, soreness, back soreness.
It seemed like he was out every single game. Like they were like, "Oh, he needs rest here. Oh, he needs rest here. Oh, he's got a sore back. Oh, we don't want him to have to run the field too hard. Oh, we're gonna have we're gonna have Stanton DH this game. We're not gonna put him in the lineup. It was excuse after excuse. It seemed like, and especially listening to guys like on ESPN, like Don LaGreca and everybody on the Michael Kay show, they would be roasting him.
Oh yeah,
day in and day out.
When I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to them, and they were talking about. I believe the Yankees had it was when Stanton first came back, and they had Friday off, it was the two game series against the Phillies, and Stanton had just come back, and he played the 3 sets before on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They had Thursday off. The series was only a Friday, Saturday. He played Friday, and they were joking that he wasn't going to play Saturday because he needs a rest because he just came back from injury. He ended up playing. Yeah, because it was at home, he could DH, and it was against a left-handed pitcher as well. So it's not even just Judge. So when I say I'm surprised he's played over 80 games, like I'm happy if he plays 125 to 130 games. I think if you get that out of Judge and Stanton, and with how they're producing this year, then go for it. Because look, when you're that big, you're gonna be sore, and
yeah, but you're also a professional athlete,
right? I mean, you got to work through it. And I understand beginning of the year, you want to make sure they don't get overworked. But
this man makes how much money?
He's been your only offense, and they're going to have to pay him soon. And he's not a young, like people think he's young. Aaron Judge, I believe, is 28 years old.
Yes. He was born April 26, 1992, which puts him at
29.
29, actually. Yeah.
So, and he's going to want a deal. I mean, you can't pay him. They're going to, but you can't pay him the 10-year, $400-300 million contract. Like, you can't do that.
To be completely honest with you, I don't believe that unless you're like directly coming out of arbitration, you shouldn't, and you're a superstar coming out of arbitration, you shouldn't be getting anything near 10 years.
No, and if you look at Aaron Hicks, I don't know if you know, it was a 7-year, $70 million contract, and he is dog bleep. I am not a Hicks fan, and he gloats about the fact that he always.
You don't seem to like anybody on the Yankees nowadays.
I like Judge, I really do. It's just going to be tough to pay him, and he's been good. I like Stanton or Urshela. I've been a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Clint Frazier, and of the starters, obviously, I love Garrett Cole. I think Jordan Montgomery, his development has been stunted, and they missed Severino. I mean, all these issues have been in this pitching staff. It's like, well, you've tried to put Severino before he had Tommy John back in, you've tried to replace him, and you just can't do that. He's been a star.
Going back to Aaron Judge, right? You have to pay him next year, correct? Is the last year of his contract?
I believe so. I will double check, but go on with your theory.
If he does have an injury-free season, like, well, what you can consider an injury-free season, like maybe a couple missed games here and there, like 140 games. Say he plays 140 games.
That'd be great.
Next season. Bats 280, 40 home runs. Are you inclined to give him whatever money he wants? Because at that point, it puts him as possibly a top 5 player in the league because he's constantly on the field. And I know it's not likely because of how injured he's been in the past. But even with how injured he's been in the past, he's been literally your most healthy player all season.
This year, for sure.
And he's been performing.
Yeah, he's been great this year. I mean, it's everything we could have asked, everything we've been wanting, and he's fixed a couple things in his swings. They finally moved him closer to the plate. And he has 1 year more of arbitration next year, and then so after 2022 is when he will need to get paid.
Yes, so next off season.
Yes. No. So
after next season.
Correct. So after 2022, he will
after
need to
the
get
2022
paid.
season. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think you should ever have to pay a guy whatever he wants, because that's a dangerous road to go down.
Well,
but
I mean, reason obviously you got to go with the next man up mentality with the whole union, the Players Association.
Well, that's how every professional sport is. Next man up, got to have the next guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't mean like injury wise. I mean, like contract wise, like the reason Lindor got paid so much money was because I can't think of his name right now. Tatis. Was it Tatis? Yeah. Fernando Tatis. No.
Machado, Harper, Cole. Tatis was paid.
No, yeah. Fernando Tatis. He got the $340 million deal.
Yep. As a 22-year-old.
As a 22-year-old. And Lindor, what was it? 3 months later, got paid $341 million.
Yeah, he wanted to be the highest
over
paid
the course
shortstop.
of. But that brings it to the point of it being like the next man up mentality because he was coming off such a good year. No, he struggled
for his
last year.
career. For his career, he'd been good. I mean, you don't
You
expect.
could have said he was the best in the league at one point.
Right. I mean,
at one point.
At one point, who else would you put there? I honestly don't know who. I would say the best shortstop in the league right now is probably Tatis.
You got guys like Tatis, Trevor Story.
Yeah, and I think Lindor is better than Trevor Story in terms of consistency, but not this year.
That's a thing. I apologize to interrupt you, but speaking of Trevor Story, I also want to bring you back to the Yankees a little bit. Trevor Story is a possible suitor for the Yankees, I would say. And I was talking about this with my friend, and I was saying how if you traded for Trevor Story, what would you do with Gleyber Torres? And I brought up the idea that you move Gleyber Torres to second, and you put LeMahieu at third because LeMahieu's got the arm, and he's got the glove to play third.
What are you going to do with Urshela at that point? Is he going to be included in the Story deal?
No, that's a point that they brought up too. Because they were saying that Gleyber Torres would have been the odd man out in that situation. So you would include him in the deal. And I said there's no way that they get rid of Gleyber Torres because that just doesn't make any sense in my opinion.
I completely agree with you. I understand he's having a rough year. And he wasn't the greatest last year either, but he is not old. He is still, he's 24. He has only a career.
Not old.
He barely has. He's at 1,392 career at bats. I think the power numbers were a little inflated from 2019 when he hit 38. I mean, 24 his rookie year. He only hit 3 last year in 42 games, and he's only hit 3 this year. So I don't know if that's a mechanical thing or if it's just a confidence thing or the pitchers. But it could
have been like the juiced baseballs they were saying.
Yeah, like Pete Alonso says, right?
Might be. I mean,
Pete Alonso hits
a lot of balls to the warning track.
Yeah, I kind of want to see what's going on. And then Manfred said he's got, they're developing a more tacky ball. But of those surprises moving forward here,
I'm sorry, I wanted to finish covering up that trade.
Go for it. Yeah, do it. Go. Let's do it.
Yeah, I would say that you have Gio Urshela possibly come off the bench or platoon with Story or Gleyber Torres.
You're not platooning either of those guys, though. You're not going to platoon Story. He's an everyday player.
No, keep Story at shortstop and move LeMahieu from second to third with Gio Urshela. And it would be Gleyber Torres being on the bench when LeMahieu plays second and Urshela plays third. Unless you want to just have
I think at that point, though, I think you're going to have to move one of those 3 guys and probably Gleyber Torres if you need Trevor Story, unless you give up Davy Garcia, Clint Frazier, and somebody else for Story. Like you can't keep all 3 of those guys, and you locked yourself into LeMahieu, and he's starting to turn around. I mean, Urshela's been much better as of late. Urshela's up to 275, 11 homers, 38 RBIs, which is, I would say league average, but his glove is insane. I mean, he's going to win a Gold Glove third baseman this year in the AL.
Which is odd because over the course of his career, he was never really a great
he was a great fielder. No, he was always a great fielder. He was never good at hitting, and the Yankees figured out how to get him to hit. It was the other way around. He was always the defensive replacement. Him and Lindor were supposed to be the 2 in Cleveland, and Urshela never panned out. The Yankees took a chance on him, found something in his swing, and fixed it. Now, he's not having as incredible year as he has in the past, but his fielding has been there the entirety of his career. That is the one thing I will be on. He is not at the level of the Matt Chapman and Nolan Arenado, but he is very close. He's a great fielder.
All right. My apologies.
No, it's good. I mean, that's the thing that's what Urshela is. He's always been underrated in the field. Nobody ever talks to him because there's the Nolan Arenados, the Matt Chapmans, the Brandon Crawfords in the field. And the Matt Olsons, if you want to look at the other corner. So it's going to be hard because if you trade for Trevor Story, you're going to have to lose one of those guys. And I think the only way you do it is if they get rid of Gleyber Torres, which I don't think is going to happen. And isn't Trevor Story a free agent soon?
Trevor Story is a free agent after this season.
I trade for a guy if you can try and sign him.
Listen, I didn't say that the Yankees were ran well, okay? We've had our
They are
issues with Cashman and Boone. We know the issues with them. We know the attitude, the presentation issues. I don't know if you can really put it past them. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with trading for a rental because you could always just get him now, boost the confidence in the locker room, and then sign him in the offseason.
The guy I would want as a rental would be Joey Gallo. Because Brett Gardner is not getting it done. Apparently, Judge could play center. Put Gallo in right. He's a good defender and left-handed bat in Yankee Stadium.
See, but with Judge being so big, I don't know if you would want him in center because that's a lot of running to do for that size.
Then put him in left. Put Clint Frazier in center. Or make Gallo play left. I mean, Gallo, if you put Gallo in left, Gallo can play anywhere. He can play first, third, left, right, center. So that's
a fun dice game.
But let's move over. Here's where we're getting stuck here. Those have been our surprises of the year. I would tend to agree with those. But I want to do some little bit of a fun topic here. I want to get the All-Star break year-end awards. I want to know what you're thinking for your awards would be. So that's your MVP, your Cy Young awards, your Rookie of the Year, and your Reliever of the Years. So MVP, I think we all know who it should be for both the American League and National League. Okay. Obviously, in the National League, it needs to be Corbin Burns, right?
You're funny. No, in all seriousness, both the American League and National League MVP and Cy Young are going to be both the same person.
I don't know about Cy Young. I don't know about Cy Young in the AL, but continue.
I would give it. I could possibly give it to Shohei Ohtani.
I think he's in the running. I would agree with you. Yes, but I don't think
he might. He might finish second
or third. I agree.
I think he's a favorite. But DeGrom, without a doubt, National League, American, Cy Young, and MVP. National League American. He's a National League American.
Who are you, Stephen A. Smith? Yeah.
Wow.
But no, yeah, I 1000% agree. I believe both MVPs are locked up. I don't know if they're locked up in the AL. I think right now, as long as Ohtani stays healthy, he is the AL MVP.
There's a lot of baseball left.
I think DeGrom, as long as both players stay healthy, they're going to win MVP. Obviously, yes, I agree. I think DeGrom is, unless he starts really not pitching well, I believe he is the Cy Young winner in the NL. And if he's not, then it's Kevin Gausman. No questions asked, and I'd be fine with either. Obviously, I want DeGrom more than Gausman just because staying healthy. In the AL, however, I have two different people who are in there for me for actually I have three in there for Cy Young. Right now, my favorite is Lance Lynn. He's 9-3 with a 1.99 ERA and a 1.04 WHIP in 90 innings pitched. And number two for me is Garrett Cole. If he can continue the trend upwards after he's off the substances, he leads the AL. He leads the AL in WHIP with 0.93. He's not even allowing a base runner every inning. Still, even after this, he's 9-4. The ERA's gone up a little bit to 2.68. But my third candidate and kind of tied with Ohtani right now is another White Sox pitcher in Carlos Rodon. 7-3. He had the no hitter. He flirted with another one. 2.31 ERA, 0.96 WHIP. So he's playing really well. I mean, 89 innings. He's got 130 strikeouts. So
Lance Lynn's getting up there in age.
Who?
Lance Lynn, he's getting up there in age.
And he's been tremendous. He's got a complete game shutout, 90 innings. He's only walked 31 batters in 90 innings. He struck out 105. Opponents are hitting 189, 189 on him. Like, these guys are great. So I would put those three above. And then I would think kind of the next level down is we'll see what happens with Bieber when he comes back healthy. Chris Bassett and obviously Ohtani are the next kind of tier guys for me. But I agree with you wholeheartedly in the NL. Like, it's Jacob deGrom's both MVP and Cy Young to lose. In the AL, I think pitching is another story, but Ohtani's done enough if he stays healthy to win MVP.
I want to go on the topic of records. As far as counting records, like
wins and losses,
like their like legitimacy. Mm-hmm. How far would you go back?
For what?
Like, you're not gonna like I personally, the record for most strikeouts in a season is Matt Kilroy with 513, and that was in the year 1886.
In no way.
I don't count that.
So what's
Because
the next
that's how-
best?
The next best is, these are all 1886, 499. Then it was 1884, 483. The most recent one at the top is Nolan Ryan in 1973 with 383. That's the most recent at the top.
So I'm pulling up now the pitching stats in 2019. I want to see who led the league in strikeouts and with how many. The strikeouts was Garrett Cole. And how much was that Nolan Ryan one?
383.
Nolan Ryan in what year? 96, you said?
73.
73. Sorry, my apologies. Garrett Cole with Houston, 326 strikeouts in 2019. And that was in 212 innings. I don't think anybody can get to that record, but if anybody's going to do it, it's either going to be Shane Bieber or Jake DeGrom. And
I mean, it is very.
It's close.
Who's leading the league in strikeouts this year?
Garrett Cole, 147.
Okay, so 147 over,
and
over
114
half of the
innings.
year.
And let me tell you this, DeGrom's right behind him with a 146, and he's pitched.
You said 147 he has?
Yeah, and DeGrom is 146, and he's pitched 34 less innings.
Oh my God.
So
oh my God, DeGrom.
I know. And
I love that, man.
And one behind DeGrom is Wheeler with 120 innings pitched, and he's at 145. So I think if DeGrom stays healthy, he might have a chance. But I think, later into the summer, I think balls just start going to fly. Pitchers aren't going to hit their spots. They're going to get more tired. We've already seen a little bit from DeGrom. I mean, his ERA is up to a ridiculous 1.08. So high for him.
Oh, well, nobody thought he was going to stay at 0.56.
I did. You kidding me?
No, I'm sorry. There's no way. Even as I am a Jacob DeGrom fanatic. There's no possible way he was going to stay that low. I wanted him to stay sub 1, but I mean 1.08.
He still might. He's got lots of time.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes like 4 or 5 starts in a row without giving up a run, it'll be back down there.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on here to the next award. I want to get your rookie of the year, and I know. I kind of almost feel like this year the award is kind of not as known as in years past, right? Because we had Tatis last year. And I honestly don't even remember who the AL was, but with Tatis, just that young kid being on a rise, it's kind of overshadowing what's going on in terms of the rookies this year. In that link, I need you to go to the Texas Rangers. Go back there, go to the Texas Rangers of all the MLB stats for me, and I want you to look at rookie Adolis Garcia. Let me know when you're there. I mean, he's got 22 homers, 62 ribbies, hitting 270. I mean, an OPS of 840 as a rookie. And he's at 311 at bats. So you
said Adolis Garcia?
Yes, Adolis Garcia. He would be my AL rookie of the year at this time. I don't know who else you could put in. I think, you could look at somebody like Yermin Mercedes, but he slowed down way too much. And he's not even in the majors anymore. Emmanuel Clase from the Indians, he's been a very good closer for them. And we'll see what Casey Mize does in the second half of the season for the Tigers. He was a number 1 overall pick, but we'll see.
We brought this up a little bit earlier. How dealing with how to call somebody a rookie in the MLB sometimes confuses me. And I guess you could I brought this guy up. You could call him a rookie. Randy Arozarena with the Tampa Bay Rays. He's
we'll see how his second half does. We all knew who he is. He made his name for himself in the playoffs last year.
So far this year, he's played 82 games with 315 at bats. He's scored 52 runs.
That's pretty dang good.
79 hits, 15 doubles, only 1 triple, and 10 home runs. Now in the home run department, that's kind of light. But I mean, he's doing pretty well. He's up there with strikeouts. He's got 96 so far on the year. Yeah, but I think that's definitely another guy that you could definitely look at. He's still technically a rookie. He has not played enough regular season games, I believe is what they're calling it. There's many rules like that. They have that in the NHL too, something like that along those lines. But if he gets hot in the second half, I could definitely see that, especially since he's a well-known name.
But I think the front runners right now are Mercedes if he comes back up and he continues to rake, and Garcia. In the NL, however, before I get yours, it's a little different. I didn't even realize Trevor Rogers was a rookie.
That's who I was going to go to.
I mean, if it's not him, it's got to be either Jonathan India or Dylan Carlson of the Cardinals. Jonathan India, obviously the Reds. I talked about him before. He's been very good. The other guy you could look at, and I saw him live in Arizona, is Pavin Smith. Dude's a utility guy. He can hit. He's playing well. He's hitting 290. He leads the team in runs, hits, leads all NL rookies in runs and hits, extra base hits as well. I mean, he's starting to really kind of come alive here. So, but I think with Trevor Rogers, and I mean, being an all-star and having such a good season, I don't see him.
He's only got a 2.31 ERA.
Right. And he's an all-star. I don't see him losing that rookie year. And he's another guy, if DeGrom starts kind of struggling here, and maybe so does Gosman, I mean, he's another guy you look at for Cy Young. And wouldn't that be something to have a rookie of the year and Cy Young be Trevor Rogers? I mean, he is 7-6, which is, I'm not looking too much into record. I mean, you look at DeGrom and his Cy Young, right? What was he, like 10-6, and he won a Cy Young or something like that? But as a rookie, I mean, 18 starts as a rookie at this point of the year, and he's been pretty good. He's only given up 5 home runs all season in 101 innings. Now that, as a rookie, is wild to me.
You're still talking about Trevor Rogers, correct?
Yes, Trevor Rogers, 5 home runs and 101.1 innings pitched. That's insane.
Now, what I am more impressed with in this sense is look at the amount of batters he's hit. In 18 starts, he's only hit 3 batters and he's only walked 34.
1.07 whip. I mean, that's right up there with the DeGroms, the Lance Lynns, the Kevin Gosmans, right? Those guys. That's right up there with them.
Absolutely, man. The hit batsman is what's getting me right here.
3 batters.
That's impressive.
What is the league lead in hits batter? Who leads the league in hits batsman? Austin
I don't
Adams
know.
of San Diego has hit 14 batters in 31 innings.
Jeez.
Of starters.
In 31 innings.
In 31
and this
innings.
man, in 101 innings pitched, he has thrown 1,579 pitches, and only 3 of them have hit a batter.
For reference of other starters, he's at about 101 innings, right? Charlie Morton has pitched 99 innings. He is second in the MLB in hits batsman with 12. Chris Bassett in 118 innings has hit 11. There's only 4 people who have hit over 10 batters, but that's still pretty.
And Charlie Morton, he's one of the stud aces in the league. I mean, he's hurt right now, isn't he? He got hurt.
I don't know if Morton is hurt, but yeah, he's 8-3. He's played 18 games. I don't know if Morton's hurt. He's been very good. He had a great June, great June. And he came back down to earth. He was great for the Rays last year. But I think it's of the rookie of the year.
He's with the Braves now.
Yeah, I think with the rookie of the year, I think it's Garcia and Rogers' award to lose. And now this one I think is a fun one. Give me your 2 relievers of the year. I think it's a pretty obvious answer for the National League, and it's not Edwin Diaz and those drums, although that's awesome. In the NL, it's Josh Hader. He is unbelievable. I don't know if you've seen his stats, but he is.
I have not. I'm checking them right now.
He has gotten touched the last 2 games he's pitched, but he is unbelievable. Josh Hader is leading the NL in saves. He's got 21. He's blown 1 save, 36 innings. He has 63 strikeouts and only 13 walks. An ERA of 1.49, and it only got up over 1 this past week when he gave up back-to-back games with a home run.
That's impressive.
He's given up 6 earned runs all year. 6. Before this week, he had given up 3. He gave a 2-run homer.
That's the Grom-like numbers, man.
As a reliever. And he's just unbelievable. In the AL, you could go Liam Hendricks again and his F-bombs on the mound. But give me your 2 relievers of the year.
I mean, I would have to lean towards you. What you're going with, Josh Hader.
Yep.
I would definitely go Josh Hader. I mean, I don't know too much about relievers outside of the New York Mets, but looking at Josh Hader's stats right now, yeah, he's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's been fun. It'll be fun to watch. There's the other awards, and then obviously you and I both agree on this, and I think it's a great story. And we know we're gonna miss. It's a 2-player award, but it's the comeback player of the year. Can we talk about Trey Mancini for a second? Oh, it's such a great story, is it not?
Absolutely.
I mean, and then to make it to the final, how are you gonna have your boy Pete Alonso beat him in the finals? That's so rude.
Listen,
Make
man,
the storybook ending, man. Come on.
No. Mercy goes for no man.
Well, it's been good. I think we've bogged down our listeners enough with the MLB talk. We've got some other pressing issues. I think we're going to skip our NBA finals talk here. We're going to plug Peak Close right now, and we're going to talk about Richard Sherman. So Peak Close, that's peakclose.com, PEAK close.com. Bench number 2, that's the number 2, BENCH, and the number 2, like Derek Jeter. In the NFL, no, we're not talking Packers, and this is not good news.
That hurts my feelings.
And it is very go kick a field goal, bud.
Only if Aaron Boone manages it.
But it's very. I woke up to this, and I was very confused and very surprised. Richard Sherman was arrested at 6:08 a.m. local time in King County in Washington, in Seattle. He's being investigated for burglary, domestic violence, which is a felony charge. He's also being connected to a hit and run. If I pull up the Adam Schefter tweet here, he says Washington State Police also are investigating Richard Sherman in connection to a hit and run and damage to a Department of Transportation property. State Police said at about 1 a.m. Pacific time, they received a report of a single car incident, and a car struck a concrete barrier. Schefter goes on to say the driver apparently was able to drive the vehicle off the exit and abandoned it in a nearby parking lot. When the registration was run, it came back to Richard Sherman. So this is a developing story. And for a guy like Sherman, who we've never heard any sort of history like this, I mean, he's a 4.0 grad from Stanford, for God's sake.
Yeah, I mean, Richard Sherman, I know he's been a bit loud on the field throughout his entire career. I mean, but he just doesn't seem like that kind of guy. He's been a stand-up guy as far as his community goes. Charity-wise, he's been great with charity. I know he's heavy in the California area or Seattle area with charity. This just doesn't seem like him. It's completely out of character. As his wife said, he's a great man. I don't understand what's going on. If there's some personal issues going on, mental issues, or if it was even him with the car. I mean, we're not
right. The fact that it was abandoned, and the only reason why they connected him to that, at least that hit and run, was the fact that the registration went back to him. And talking about his wife, Ashley Moss, you mentioned that she said, this isn't him. She said, quote, this is what Schefter said, Ashley Moss to the Seattle Times, quote, he didn't harm anybody. My kids were not harmed in the incident. So clearly something happened, but she didn't say what. He is a good person, and this is not his character. We're doing all right, just trying to get him out. I want people to know nobody was injured. And although he's not formally charged, Richard Sherman, he can't be until he appears in court, which won't be until tomorrow, Thursday. Until then, he's got to remain in the correctional facility. It is a weird situation. I agree with you. This doesn't seem like him. This is going to be something that's developing. Is this the end of him in the NFL?
And that would be specifically awful news for you, because we know his connection with Robert Saleh, and there was a possibility of him potentially becoming a New York Jet this offseason. So, I mean, and even if he's not charged, I mean, he's probably going to be put either on a commissioner's exempt list or at least suspended for 4 games, depending on, because it's a domestic violence issue.
Get the Ezekiel Elliott treatment.
Yeah. Hopefully not the Ray Rice treatment.
Is this the end of his career? Even if he, just gets suspended 4 games and that's it? Because he's 33, right? And we've seen him start to decline. Like, to be completely honest with you, I thought that once he left San Francisco, it was the end of his career. I thought he was done. I thought he was retiring. But after the news, people were like trying to recruit him to some places. The news with Robert Saleh that came out, that he had ties with him and he loves playing for him. I didn't know if he was going to come back or if he was going to retire, but it seemed like he was going to sign somewhere. Oh, I 1,000% agree. But I honestly think that even if he gets off scot-free, if he gets a job, like it's only for 1 year. Like I think he's done. And even then, I don't think he's guaranteed to get a position, even if it's with Robert Saleh and the Jets. Because I think the
No,
Jets
he'd
have more
definitely
pressing
be.
issues. I think if he comes back, it's solely either to the Niners or the Seahawks or the Jets. I don't think he goes anywhere else. And even then, I other than I don't believe that the Niners and the
What? Who said
Seahawks
that?
as an organization won't want that connection of domestic violence as a part of their team. The Jets are stupid enough to do it. Even if he didn't do it, that's always now going to be a part of him. Is oh he was arrested for this. We don't know what he did here. So I'm very very interested to see if not only like what more details come out of the situation, but what more like if it's this, like I genuinely think this is the end of his career, even if he's off scot-free. And I don't know if you agree with that. But
I don't think he's going to be let off as scot-free, solely for the reason that I
by
don't know if you
scot-free,
know who
sorry, by scot-free, I mean just like in court, like he,
No, I know what you mean. I know
Okay.
what you mean. I don't know if you saw this tweet by Joe Fan on Twitter. He's at Joe_fan. Now this is just I don't know the word. It's like normal for it to happen, but his bail was denied. And if you look at it, it says the charges are burglary, DV-INV, which means that the domestic violence, and INV means it's being investigated as a felony. Now, normally when things are being investigated as a felony, it's obviously a felony is up to at least a year in prison. So the issue with that is there's a chance that he's probably not going to get off scot-free with that situation.
So I'm looking at Joe Fan right now. They're having a press conference right now as we speak. This is from 7 minutes ago. Joe Fan says the Redmond Police Department press conference confirms that Richard Sherman's booking for burglary domestic violence has nothing to do with any harm done to his wife. She was not involved. It has to do with damage done to the front door of a family member's residence. The DV component was between Richard Sherman and his ex-in-laws. He also did tweet that Richard Sherman suffered, quote, minor laceration in the lower leg and ankle due to the canine. He was treated in a nearby hospital before booking.
See, but now why is that if they're ex-in-laws, they're not family. He doesn't live with them. So why is it domestic violence? He has no reason to be there other than that what happened. He's like he could literally leave and nothing would happen.
He didn't clearly.
Well, no, I mean he could. It wouldn't affect his life if he was told he could never be at that house again, is what I'm saying, because he doesn't live there, and they're obviously exes, so he has no reason to be there unless his kids live there. I'm not too sure about that. But it shouldn't be considered domestic violence unless you live with said people involved in the incident.
Well,
in my opinion,
he attacked people.
Yes, but that's assault. That's not domestic violence. Domestic violence.
Yeah. I mean, it also just determines what, there's some details that we probably don't know about that probably made it turn into more domestic violence rather than,
you froze on me there for a second. Oh, there
assault.
You are.
So yeah, I'm back. I'm good. Yep. I was saying, there's some legal laws, and I can ask my father about this at another time. And there's probably some wordings or the way, actually transpired, the way it was booked that made it domestic violence rather than assault, because there's always some interesting wordings in legal terms. I mean, there's almost like a different legal language that is needed to be followed and taken care of. So what I'm surprised is burglary, which means he stole something. Did he steal that car? And was it an old car of his that he didn't own, that was registered to him, that was part of those exes? I don't know. It's a freaking weird situation.
See, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna look up the specific definition of burglary in the state of Washington.
Okay, go for it.
Because burglary, I know in the state of New York, burglary does not necessarily have to be any sort of larceny. There does not have to be any larceny involved. Yes, burglary is the entry into a dwelling or a building illegally with the intent to commit a crime.
With the intent to commit a crime.
That means that he broke into the home.
Yes,
intending to do something.
Did damage to the front door of a family member's residence.
Yes, and it means that he went in there like to intend to do something illegal or criminal.
And it just seems so out of character for a guy
Now,
like that to go break into a house.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened, man. It's a confusing situation.
I will say, Joe Fan, this account that you follow is providing minute-to-minute updates. If you're looking for updates, it's Joe JOE_fan with 2 N's, FANN, and he's giving good updates on Twitter. This is a ever-changing situation. I'm hopeful to know more details by Friday, and I can have more info for our cool listeners here on the bench. But Chris, let's finish off here. We got about 5 minutes left. Let's finish off here on more of a lighter note. I'm still better than you at MLB The Show. And you're still in New York, and we still got to go play golf next time I'm there.
I have literally never been on a golf course. I've only ever been to a driving range.
Well, I must have to take you to a golf course. But coming up on the bench, we've got Just Vibing with Ryan Lip right after me. And then coming later tonight, we got OTR Sports, Beyond the Buzzer, and Average Take. Good shows on the channel. I do apologize. We're still working out kinks. So what we have to do is whenever we transition shows, whoever's on has to turn the channel off air in order to get our logos to change. And then the person who's on next will turn it back on. So if you are listening, you continue to listen, just restart your application after my show, and you should be good to go. Chris, dude, thank you for joining me. Thank you for getting your job done early. It's been a ton of fun. And I know Down and Distance is on pause. You're always welcome on the show. And I definitely will have you on because I know for a fact you and I are going to talk football when it comes around. We're going to talk kicking field goals and what kickers are best in the draft. I think Mason Crosby's a good kicker. I think he's the number one kicker in the draft. He's not. He shouldn't have kicked that field goal. When it gets a lot closer, I think end of the month here, camps are supposed to start. Will Aaron Rodgers report? We got 3 minutes left here. Will Aaron Rodgers report to mandatory training camp?
Absolutely. I mean, if you listen to guys like AJ Hawk, AJ Hawk brought up the fact that Aaron Rodgers he looked mentally happy. He looked like he was good to go. He looked like he was prepared to sling the football. I'm trying to see this real quick. AJ Hawk specifically on Aaron Rodgers, and I quote, this is a tweet by Eli Berkovitz. He is at Book of Eli _NFL. He said, AJ Hawk on Aaron Rodgers, and I quote, "You saw the match. He wanted to win. You can see when somebody wants to win. He likes to compete. Does that look like a guy who's going to sit out and retire to you? Aaron looks great. He seems mentally in a good spot and can still sling the ball." I don't know if you saw his throw at Lake Tahoe, man. Did you see it? I mean, I was dropped in the ocean, which is.
I think I did.
Oh man, that throw! It was standing still.
I mean, he's still got one of the best arms in the league. I mean,
what do you mean still? Still, he never lost it. Never lost it. Never will lose it. 50 years old, dropping dimes. Boom.
50 years old, dropping dimes. Okay, that'll be like 50 years old, me still skating as fast. No chance.
I have a shirt. I have a shirt that's I bought it from the Pat McAfee show when he used to go on the Pat McAfee show. It says it's a picture of Aaron Rodgers doing the DX chop. I don't know if you know what that is, a suck it sign. And it says dropping dimes and suck it signs on it. There's a picture of him in the jersey. It's a great shirt. I wore it yesterday. It's somewhere over here. It's in my laundry.
Don't worry about it. We'll have to find you. You'll have to send me a picture. But Chris, dude, it's been great having you on. Down and Distance. It's hopeful to return in some time. It's on pause right now. Chris has got a lot going on. He's got work, but he's always welcome on this show. Chris, thank you so much for joining me. Keep listening to the Bench Sports guys. It's been a ton of fun today. Chris, I'll keep talking to you. I'll keep eating you with the show. Thanks for joining.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. That was a great time.